showing that if you knew that it was going to raise the national debt, if you knew it was going to raise taxes, and there were 40 of them in this new plan, 40, then the reaction would be different.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bob and Heather. But, I'm still just so confused. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know math. Maybe I don't know basic economics. But this is troubling. You saw what happened in the pandemic, quote, stimulus, and how much percentage of that money really went to, quote, the pandemic. But it's very troubling, especially on when you have a senior representative on the Biden administration. You saw Cedric Richmond when he talked to Chris Wallace, when he said he pretty much didn't know where the money was going to come from. And then he says, oh, well, yeah, we're going to tax the wealthy and the rich. This is what's troubling more than anything, Bob. Previously in the Trump administration, we had the tax cuts. We cut the regulations. You grow the economy through the small business like me, out of 30+ million of us across the country. Give us a chance to minimize the tax burdens on us, on our payroll taxes, on our sales tax, our property tax, our ad valorem tax, our tax. And let the economy, let the market just at least take a breather and give it a chance to work its way through. Don't throw more tax burdens on the American people, on me, the small business, and many of us, and make us foot this bill. Yes, I understand infrastructure. I was chairman of the 7th largest transit fleet down here in Atlanta. I understand roads, high-speed rail, our aging rail system. We're 40 years behind, unlike our foreign adversaries in China. They have a mag-lift train where we're still having the metal wheels. I get it, if that's where the cash is really going to go. But listen, we're in a terrible situation here coming out of a pandemic. That you see the inflation. We still haven't, guys, chill out, take a breath, and let the market start taking care of itself. And don't threaten to tax the rich, because you know what's going to happen in these corporations, Bob and Heather. They're going to find business somewhere. And you saw how hard Trump fought to bring businesses back to this great country and manufacturing. They're gonna jump ship and run away, and we're gonna go back again.
Everyone ends up paying in the end. And speaking of jumping ship, Bob was talking about the poll that we talked about earlier. It was over 70% of independents, Peter, said they would not support President Biden's budget plans if they increase taxes or spending. But in addition to that, I also wanted your response as a former congressman to what Senator Kristen Sinema had to deal with over the weekend. Watch this.
We need a Build Back Better plan right now.
We knocked on doors. We need solutions. The Build Back Better plan has the solutions that we need.
We knocked on doors for you to get you elected, and just how we got you elected, we can get you out of office if you don't support what you promised us.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I mean, what in the world, Peter? I know that President Biden did make reference to that today, and he basically, and I'm summarizing, said, well, it happens, that they all have to deal with it. What are your thoughts? Did you ever have to deal with anything like that?
Well, I did have pickets at my house one night. Several hundred of them were bussed in. And I was not home. My wife was home alone. And it was really terrifying. They had to have cops with long guns outside the house. This is something that really hadn't gone on before. And it's something that the left is really adopting. They actually have taken Chuck Schumer's home in Brooklyn. And to me, there should be a separation between your public life and your private life. When you're out in public, that's a whole different story. But when you're at home or you're in a restroom, my God, how shameful can they be? And I think President Biden really missed an opportunity. He could have helped himself. First, it was the right thing to do. But secondly, it would have helped him politically if he had just condemned that out and out. Said it's wrong, absolutely wrong, it's morally wrong, and I condemn it. Instead, to say that it's part of the process. I don't remember anyone ever doing that to Joe Biden at all. And, getting back to what you were saying about the $3.5 trillion bill, probably the smallest part of that is infrastructure. This is a reworking of the American economy. Tax increases, child care, Medicare, climate change, everything.
Yeah, and Bruce, speaking of infrastructure, that where you are right now, there's a shot to the left. I don't know if that's 75 or 85, but there are no cars on there, so that I know it's not real. So I know it's not a live shot. But this Joe Biden, even Chris Christie is saying, remember Joe Biden, the one that ran in 2020 as a moderate? That one's dead. Listen to what he said.
When he went to the Hill, 2020 Joe Biden is now officially dead and buried. The guy who ran against the progressives, ran against Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, ran to be a uniter in this country, ran saying he was going to force compromise. And he went up to Capitol Hill and he capitulated to the progressives, the liberals in his party. And why should we be surprised? He couldn't stand up to the Taliban. How could we expect him to stand up to AOC?
Okay.
And that's what the fear was when people were thinking about voting for Biden. Is he going to be that Trojan horse that brings in the Bernie Sanders and the AOCs of the world?
Yeah, well, you know, all honesty, guys, you know, let's get back to his declining health. I mean, sad as it is, the reality is you saw what's going on before the American people's eye as well as the world's eye to you. And, you know, in all defense of Joe Biden, I don't even think he really grasped really what's going on. I hate to use that as an excuse, Bob and Heather, but I got to get back to that because, you know, there's something's not right with this man. I hate to say it. Forget about the Republican Democrat stuff. Let's look at the American people and the country at whole and how the perception is for the world, what they're looking at and how he's making these decisions.
Okay, including when he speaks, he coughs a lot.
That
Now,
today he was
I
doing that
cough
a
from
lot.
time to time
Yeah.
also and get sick, but it seems like always he's coughing when he
Yeah.
appears. All right, Bruce LeVell, Peter King, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks.